technology.
Hi there. You're listening to the Lightwalker's Path, and I'm your host, Rosemary DeTrolio, Reiki Master teacher, angel channel, and spiritual guide. Every episode will bring soul aligned conversations, divine wisdom, and energy healing to awaken your intuition and illuminate your path. So take a deep breath, step into the light, and join us. But please subscribe. And my wonderful guest today is a lady that I met recently on a business meeting, and her name is Kaylee Mohrman. She's a mother of three and bonus mom to one, a long-standing nurse of 19 years, and her life has always been devoted to end-of-life care. God bless you for that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, and you had an office open in Alexandria, Minnesota called Cornerstone Caregiving for
Yep.
non-skilled home care. And her passion is to empower women into leadership and to trust their inner voice. And that's all what I stand for. And I love it. So I'm
Yes.
thrilled to meet you, Kaylee.
I'm thrilled to meet you as well for the second time.
Yes, yes. This is a little deeper dive into
Yes.
who Kaylee is. So, Kaylee, tell me about the vision of your business and why you stepped into it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, as you said, I have been a nurse for 19 years. So I started out as an LPN, got my RN, and then I wanted to work with end of life. I when I worked in the hospital, people needed that one-on-one support that I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't provide for them because I
Mm,
had five patients at one time and I could just give them medications and then go on to my next patient. So I knew that after I worked in the hospital, I had my skills as a nurse. I wanted to work in hospice. And so
amazing.
I got a job in hospice, worked in hospice for 12 years as an RN.
Wow.
And yeah, so I was an RN case manager. I left there as the senior director of sales for both home health and hospice. Um, and so from there, I saw it in the community, just the greater good of the community. I knew that there was a need for non-skilled care. People
Hmm.
would call all the time and say, "Do you know of any place that has 24/7 care that can provide 24/7 care?" And really,
Yes.
there was not any in the communities, in our community in Alexandria or the surrounding communities. There's some here and there, but they don't have enough caregivers to provide it. And so I knew that when Cornerstone Caregiving reached out to me asking me to open an office here in Alexandria, I knew that for the greater good of the community that I needed to do it.
What a wonderful way to be in service, the way that you've lived. And I do appreciate, I love nurses. I love what they do. I don't know how you do it, but I love it. And the idea of helping seniors at that point of life, even before death, where you're just scrambling around, that people can't get out to do things for themselves.
Mhm.
So, what are some of the services that these non-skilled caregivers can provide? And is this like an adjunct with, let's say, in-service nursing, or how does it work for your business?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So you kind of led right into it. So we can do anything from taking somebody grocery shopping, doing respite, if there's medication reminders that they need, helping them get ready in the morning or get ready for bed in the evening, and then making their bed for them, prepping meals for the week. So anything
Yeah.
that's non-skilled care that's needed that doesn't need an RN or a physical therapist or an occupational therapist,
Yeah.
that's what my team can do, and be that additional support. So we work with other home health agencies, so the skilled agencies, both
Okay.
home health and hospice. And
Yes.
so because they're not in the home 24/7 or they don't do extended periods of time of care, that's when they call us and say, "Hey, Joe needs an additional, 4 hours a day because his
Yes.
his wife needs to go to Bible study and do grocery shopping and just have time for herself." And that's where
Absolutely.
my team comes in to support.
I think one of the most difficult things, and I've seen this because I had both parents are passed now, but my father had hospice in, and I was running down to my mother's house. She's an hour away. I was running down every single day to help with my dad, and I was getting wiped out. My poor mother, she was in a wreck, and she wouldn't ask for help. Like she's very stubborn, like we all are.
Absolutely. Yep.
And she was getting wiped out. My sister, I was getting wiped out. So I was like, Mom, you really need to get help. So
Mhm.
eventually she allowed help to come in. But, I noticed how it took a toll on the caregiver to a great deal. And so many people are so proud they won't ask for help and they won't
Absolutely.
do these services. You always say an empty cup can't fill another person, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so and you had I mean, you just are spot on with that because I mean, everybody wants to be the one to care for their loved one. They want to be the one to
Hmm.
care for them. They shouldn't have to be their primary caregiver though, because they
Yes.
need to be able to be their loved one as well. So
Yes.
to be that support, and you can't always do both. You can sometimes. You don't need 24 hours all the time, but
Yes.
to have that additional support so you can still be there to hold their hand with them and just comfort them is
Yes.
so important because like you said you can't pour from an empty cup, and that's what
Hmm.
so many people try to do is
Hmm.
try to pour everything out of their heart, and they just can't do that. It's just
Yes.
not good for them, and then it takes a toll on their mental health, their physical health, everything.
Yeah, I've seen it happen, and a lot of, it's very, reminding me because you were a nurse. I've had a lot of clients come to me that were nurses during 9/11, and they were just wiped out, and they're like, "What do I do? I've got nothing left." And I know that in the traditional healthcare system, it not only wears out, caregivers and people that are in it, but also the nursing staff and all the caregivers and doctors and people are just overwhelmed. It's just
Absolutely.
too much. So I'm going to ask you, what do you do for yourself that helps you stay loved and balanced and able to do the beautiful work that you do? What are some of
Wow.
your self-care things?
That's a really great question because with 4 kids and 5 dogs and
Oh,
a boyfriend that's really crazy busy in his own sports and he owns his own business, really what I do is just try and take time for myself,
mm-hmm,
whatever that means. And so
mm-hmm,
if it's going to bed and just shutting off my phone and just putting on a show that I like, that because I never get
mm-hmm,
to watch TV,
mm-hmm.
because I'm, chasing around
Yeah.
after my kids all the time. They're so busy. They're all in sports and everything
Oh
too.
gosh.
And so, yeah, so when I can do that, that's great. But I really just enjoy, the work-life balance and getting out to my kids' stuff and getting
Oh,
to
it's
watch them
beautiful.
getting to watch them do their stuff because you know, this is such an important time in their lives too as they
Oh,
grow. And
yes.
so I need to be present for them as well.
I love that. And I'm a former school teacher, so I taught kids for 32 years. So I know the energy it takes with children and that. So what are the ages of your kids?
So my oldest is 15.
Okay.
She just started high school, and
Yeah.
then my stepdaughter is 12, and
Okay.
then my son is going to be 10, and my youngest is 8.
Oh my goodness. And I
Yeah.
taught the third graders. I love the
Oh,
eights.
okay.
I love the
Yep.
eights. They're just amazing little
Yep.
people.
And
The brains are
that's
going.
that's my
Oh,
8-year-old. Oh my
wow.
gosh. And it's crazy. I mean, 8 years old, and she is just full of sass and just life and energy. And but then, she can flip a switch and be my tiny little baby too. So
Oh,
they're just
that's so
so fun.
sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Oh,
Yeah.
I love your heart. You are just a wonderful young lady. And
Oh,
I'm
thank
looking at
you.
you because to me you look too young to have kids,
Oh,
Like
well,
she looks
thank
so
you.
you could have been my daughter. That's beautiful. So
Yeah, thank you.
I want to ask you about hospice because here my experience with it, I've trained a lot of people through like my business and angel communication, and a couple of them in there were hospice people that became that after they took one of my workshops.
Yeah.
And I never thought I can ever do that for anyone until I had two friends die and my father, and I was with each one like a couple hours or day before they passed. And I found it was such an honor and a gift that I never thought I could do.
Mhm.
But I know it takes a lot of out of you and a special kind of person not to let it affect you in the long term. So my
Oh,
question is, how the heck did you do it for so long? And what did you do like to keep yourself from, I guess, crying their tears,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
like how did you handle that? Because
Yeah, and I think that that's a really great question, and I get asked that all the time. And I think the first thing is too is that we're all human, right?
mm,
So if we need to cry, I cried with them. I had a couple of patients that I still talk to their family members,
oh, it's
10
beautiful.
years later, and and then I've met more of their family that I didn't even meet when Dawn was on service with me. And
Oh,
so you just have to allow yourself to feel, because
mm-hmm.
if you don't allow yourself to have those feelings, then you're not human. And so
Yeah.
you have to allow yourself to feel, but you also have to tell yourself that I'm coming in at such a special and vulnerable time in these
Mm-hmm.
people's lives that I know that they're not going to live much longer. So I
Hmm.
need to, I need to take every moment that I've been given with them and cherish it with their family and
It's
help their
beautiful.
family learn to cherish those moments
Yes.
and then leave it there. And so
Yeah.
then when if that person passes away tonight, I know that, I took the best care possible I could for them and they were comfortable. And then now they're
Mhm.
going to heaven to be with God.
It's beautiful. You know, one of the things that I always do, like when I picture my father, if I picture him sick, I immediately say no, and I remember my father doing cannonballs in our swimming pool and laughing. He had a hysterical personality. Everybody loved my dad. He was like a big Saint Bernard or teddy bear,
I
you know.
love that.
And
Yeah.
he'd walk in a room and he made everybody feel loved. And that's the way, like when I picture dad, I try to remember him because the only time I ever heard that man complain was the 2 days before he died. That was it.
Oh,
That man was always a heartfelt person. And I had a lot of very weird experiences, not only when he passed, but after.
okay.
So I know dad has been around
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, even when he passed, I was hearing music and stuff. I was hearing lots of stuff. Like I got
Uh-huh.
a lot of
Your
stuff.
senses are very heightened. Yep,
Very
absolutely.
heightened. Have you had any odd experiences, or is that something you're comfortable talking about?
Yeah,
Because I,
no,
I
I'm
don't want
very comfortable with talking about it. Not odd experiences in the sense of, that somebody, comes back to me, but I dream a lot.
to.
I
Yeah.
I have very, very vivid dreams. And so I'll
Mhm.
have dreams about even my dogs that have passed away.
I
They'll
have
come to
had
me in my
that.
dreams or my
Hmm.
grandpa that passed away. And I wasn't even thinking of my grandpa that day. And
Yes.
then he'll come
Yes.
to me in my dream. And so
Yeah.
it's like, oh, thanks, Grandpa. I'm gonna have a good day
Yes.
today, or thanks, Lolo, my dog. And so
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that people, people that go to heaven and that their spirit, they're still with us.
That I
Um,
believe that.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely. If they loved butterflies or if they loved a specific flower and you all of a sudden have that flower growing in your yard that you've
Hmm.
never seen before, that's them. They're showing you, hey, I'm good. I'm here and I'm with you. Even though I'm not physically with you, I'm here in spirit with you.
That's beautiful. I had a lot of strange things. The exact moment my father passed was 120, right? And I know that he chose a certain day because he knew my husband would be with me as a support. And he
Mhm.
told me that the day before, like he kind of said, I'll say goodbye to you today, so I won't be here tomorrow. Oh,
Yep.
I'm going tomorrow was what he
Yep.
basically said to me. So at that exact moment, I had a friend of mine, more of a client that really didn't know my father. My father came to her the moment he passed and bugged the heck out of her to paint a picture for me. And what he wanted her to put in it was roses, the 3 roses for his daughters and his wife.
Mhm.
And he wanted her to put in a 4-leaf clover. And the reason why he said 4-leaf clover was a couple months before, when he was still mobile and able to visit my house, I had said to him, Dad, in all these years, I never found a 4-leaf clover. I wanted to find one. So the other day I prayed to God and I said, I really don't need proof, but I want to find a 4-leaf clover. And he looked down, and guess what? I found it. And for the next 3 days, I kept finding 4-leaf clovers.
Oh my goodness.
So my father said, Oh, you got a direct line to God. And we started kidding about it.
Yeah.
So the other day, I have a garden in the back and I have all these clovers all over. So I looked and I said, Dad, are these clovers from you? I would like to find a 4-leaf clover. So I want to just show you. Uh,
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Oh, you found one and dad put that there for
Dad
you.
put it there for, and I
Yes.
know because it was our little joke. And, the other thing that happened is, when my father finally passed, my girlfriend came to me and she said, I have a gift from your father. And it was the 3 roses and the word always and a 4-leaf clover.
Oh my
My
goodness.
son shows up for my birthday because our birthdays are a day apart, my father and I. And he said, I had a dream of Grandpa last night, and he told me I had to buy you roses. He was going to send you roses. And I said, well, how's that going to happen? He shows up, my son shows up with 24 roses, and he said, 12 of these are from Grandpa. He said, and he still owes me the money for them. But it's like those
Oh, that is
moments,
so, it is. And those moments are so real. And I truly think so. This is something that it's taken me a while to, come to the point of being okay with people passing away. We're all going to
Yeah,
pass away.
yeah,
So, and that's, when you talk about hospice, I know that we're all going to pass away. And when people were scared to sign up for hospice because they didn't want to die, I would say, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
none of us want to die, but we're
Yeah.
all going to die. And so you might pass away sooner than me because you have a terminal illness, or I might leave here and get in a car wreck and pass away. We never know
Yeah.
when
You
we're going to
never
die.
know. You never
Yeah.
know.
And so I think, coming to the realization that just because somebody's not physically here with you does
Hmm.
not mean that they're not here with you anymore. And so that has been very comforting for me
Oh,
too,
yes.
is just knowing, yes, you miss their physical presence, you miss their voice, you miss all of those things, but it's the memories and then their spirit that they're bringing back,
Yeah.
and the blessings that they're continuing to give you, even though they're not physically here with
I
you.
love that. In some ways, they're somewhat more connected because I think that when we pass, a lot of our ego just goes away. So
Mhm.
because you're in God's presence, you're kind of clear. You're cleared out of all
Yep.
the stupid things we do and all
Yep.
our choices as humans. But I really think that we merge with this great light of God, and we are
Absolutely.
always there for each other and for our loved ones. So I think that's a message for people to understand that. No matter what your faith is, your soul keeps going on, even if you don't always know it at the time.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful to
Absolutely. One way
know.
or another. It absolutely is so true.
Yes, yes. What advice would you give to family members when they are I know we all want to hold on to our loved ones. What advice would you give like people that are losing someone or that someone's terminally ill? What would you tell them about?
Yeah, I mean, every situation is so different. And
Yeah.
so, if somebody is younger and they're dying of cancer, it's far different than somebody who's 100
Yes.
years old and has lived an amazing,
Yes,
incredible,
absolutely.
long life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for the young ones, it's, do what you do what you can while you still have the person with you. Love
Mm-hmm.
them, tell them you love them. And I'm a firm believer in, every time I talk to my mom on the phone, I love you, mom,
My
so
son does that too.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and just letting the people know that you love them all the time, not just because they're dying, or not
Yes.
just because they have
Yes.
a terminal illness. Do it every single day.
Every
Let them
day.
know every single day how much you love them, and then you won't, you will never regret not having that final conversation or not telling them that you loved them one last time, because you always are if you're sharing your
Yes.
feelings with somebody all the time.
That's beautiful. I know, some clients have come to me too, and they were like, I still hold lots of anger at a parent that has passed. So what I tell them to do is write a letter, but don't, you're writing a letter of your feelings or the one you want them to see. And then when you're done, rip it up and put it under a plant. And that plant could give it new life, like a rose bush or
Oh, I
something
love
that could
that.
bring beauty back. When my oh, let me see, it was my son's grandfather passed. I told him to take a memory box, like a shoebox, and write letters to grandpa and put it in the box and
I
know
love
that those
that.
will get to heaven.
Yep.
And that really helped him because at the time he was 8 years old when his first grandfather passed,
Okay.
and he was an adult when his second one passed. And
Yep.
I think those kind of things, the coping mechanisms, are so necessary for family members that don't have that. My mom, she wouldn't accept help. So I'm like, in her day, you just like buck yourself up and keep
You
going.
do.
But
Yep.
it really, like, I lost a sister to cancer when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And my parents, we never had like counseling or anything.
Yeah.
And it affected my mother in a way that made her feel angry or scared when anyone got sick in our family.
Sure.
And I saw this in her. It was like this unhealed wound from losing my sister. Yet my father dealt with it very differently. So
Yep.
the two personalities, we could have used some family counseling back in the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. That wasn't a thing. I mean,
Yes.
counseling is just really over the last, I would say, 10 years becoming
Yes.
something more prevalent, and mental illness and
No,
mental health
yes.
and all of that. It's just becoming more prevalent. But
Yes.
back when you were younger, that wasn't a thing.
It
And
wasn't.
furthermore, your mom being able to show her grief in a way of sadness
Yeah.
wasn't a thing either, because she, like
No,
you said, she just had to buck up and deal with
you
it.
weren't
And
allowed. Yeah.
yep, absolutely. And
Yes.
so that's what's different about that day and age compared to now, is that there are so many resources. And so
Yes.
you use the resources too. My goodness, there are so many resources out there. There's grief groups. There is, all
Yes.
you have to do is just do a Google search and see what you can find. You can do online counseling now too. I think
Yes,
that in-person
yes,
counseling is better, but online is
absolutely.
better, better than
For
nothing.
people. Yes.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So anything that you can do that needs to, or that you need to get that grief out, do it.
Hmm.
You can't sit there and hold it inside, because then you can't move on with your life either.
That's right. You get stuck. So my question is, in your business too, I know that you have people that are coming in doing different things.
Yep.
Do you also guide people that contact you with resources that they can use for mental health? I'm sure that's part of your
Oh,
business as well,
absolutely.
right?
Yes, absolutely. So
Yeah.
in helping them, because you can see it typically when you see somebody who's really sad or down and depressed and whatnot. Yes, and in just having that candid conversation and saying, hey, I know of there's this one gal I used to work with. She's a blessing. Her name is Deb Hadley, and she does she lost two of her kids, and
Oh,
she, oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
mm.
and it's just devastating, but she took her situation and turned it into something beautiful, and she created a foundation.
Oh,
And
that's
so
nice.
now she's doing grief support groups for
That's
others who have lost
amazing.
their loved ones. Yes, and so it's incredible. So sharing those types of things with
Hmm.
people and saying, you can check it out, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to do
Yeah.
it tomorrow either. If in a month
Just
from
know
now, if
it's
you think,
there.
yeah, I think that
Yes.
and you know what, hospice companies, even though, if your loved one wasn't on hospice when they passed away, they'll still let you into one of their grief support groups or send you
Yeah.
resources to get
Yeah.
assistance. So yes,
That's
absolutely.
beautiful. Hospice was a wonderful organization. I was really impressed with just the care and compassion that came in, and I know, we went through a lot with my dad being so ill. We had him home. He begged me to take him out of the facility. He was in there for a short time, and he said, "Get me out of this place." He goes, "I want to die at home." And
Mhm.
within 2 days, I had him out and everything at my mother's house.
Oh, bless
But
you.
it
Oh
was
my
tough for
gosh.
my mom because, he was in the home and it was 24/7, and it was hard for her, but my father begged me. He wanted to be in his own home
Yep.
and he was
Yep. And I
very
can't blame him
attached.
for that.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
but it was an honor, but very, it's a very difficult passage of life that we have to experience, but it is part of life. And
it is.
again, you take with it the blessing of that person in your life and what they meant, what they gave you,
Yep.
and
Yep.
emotionally was beautiful.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
so glad you had a wonderful hospice experience. I
Yes.
love that.
Yes. So in your company, do you work with mostly senior care, or is there a section where if someone has, let's say, a very ill kid or whatever, do you also have that as a component, or is it mostly senior care? I was
we
just
will do
curious.
we'll do whatever type of care that is needed. So if there would be somebody with a developmentally disabled child and they needed some time away because they need to run errands, or just respite,
Yes.
they need time
Yes.
for themselves, maybe they want to go get a massage, we can go in there and help with that too. So it doesn't matter what age.
Yeah.
We the majority, I would say the majority of our clients are the elderly population,
Yes.
just due to the fact that obviously,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are needing help right now. But
Hmm.
yes, if somebody would come in and say, excuse me, I have a 5-year-old who has Down syndrome and needs somebody with him, during the day for a couple of
Yeah.
hours, would you be able to provide that service? Absolutely.
That's beautiful. Is this any of this covered by any insurance, or this is a separate? It
So
is?
that's a great question. So
Oh,
Cornerstone Caregiving accepts VA benefits and
okay.
then long-term care insurance.
Long-term
So
care. Okay.
yep,
So
so
like
those are the two that we take. Otherwise, it's private pay.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking of some of my clients in my area. There's one that has a disabled child that's probably 20,
Yep.
but in the home. So I know that woman's come to me like wiped out, and I was like,
Yes.
"Do you have any help?"
Yes.
So
Yes.
I was just
Absolutely.
curious. And you are nationwide, is that true? Like when
Yes.
someone signs up, you can go to any. Tell me
You
about
can.
that for people out of
Yeah.
state.
So Cornerstone Caregiving the company was created back in 2020, so it's only 5 years old. And
Okay.
the two owners of the company created Cornerstone Caregiving. They saw, the same thing that I saw in the community, is that there was a need for in-home non-skilled care.
Yeah.
So they started in Waco, Texas, and that's where
Okay.
their corporate office is today, and have it just expanded now. I just started in this position in August of
Okay.
this year. So I just opened my office here, but they're hoping to be in all 50 states by the end of this year, if not early next year. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's Cornerstone Caregivings in nearly every state. Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's really good to know.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay. Is there an unusual talent besides the amazing stuff you do in your business that you want to share or tell that you enjoy doing?
Oh goodness. I wouldn't say necessarily that it's I enjoy singing country music. I love singing. I'm a car singer, I'm a shower singer. Anytime that there's music, my mom is still floored every single time that a song comes on and it's the first time she hears it. She's like, "How do you know the words already?" I
Uh-huh.
listen to the words to every song that I hear before I learn the words. So I listen
Uh-huh.
to it and I can feel what they're singing about.
I love that.
So that's I guess I wouldn't say it's necessarily a talent,
Yeah.
but it's something that's kind of quirky about me.
You've got that emotion. It's your understanding the emotion before. And actually
Yeah.
that's how you tell if someone's a good singer. You know, like when you're watching the shows, I can always tell if they're linking in with what
Yep.
is this song about, or if I'm just
Yes.
singing a bunch of words I don't energetically understand, you know?
Yep, that's exactly right. That's what they say on
Yeah.
American Idol too. They're like, you're singing
Yes.
the song, you're singing the words, but you're not feeling the
You're
emotion
not
behind it.
feeling
This
it.
song is about, yeah, this song is about sadness and deep
Yes.
thought and yes, and so that's I totally get when they're saying that because I won't learn the words to a song until I learn what it's about.
Yes, yes, I agree. And you can also tell too when someone's doing like if they're acting. The other day we were watching something and like it looks so like they're just saying words and like
Yep.
I don't believe that person. They're a
I
terrible
know.
actor.
Yes, it's like Lifetime movies. I
Yeah.
don't want to, dog Lifetime movies
Oh
because I do
no.
watch them. I like them, but some of them it's just like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, those actors are terrible.
Yes. We always say that like when you're watching a Hallmark movie, they're just one whole plot that's always the same
The same.
with
Yep.
different faces and always there's a problem and then everything's fine at the end and
You
that's
know
the
what?
every
That's the
single
best part
lifetime.
though. That is the best part about it. If you want to end your day with a really, really good feel good movie, you just have to turn Hallmark on because you know that it's going to end great.
Yes,
There's
yes.
not going to be a bad ending to it.
That's right. That's why I don't read Nicholas Sparks because he
There you
gets you,
go.
he hooks you in. You're like,
Yep.
oh, it's all beautiful. In the end, someone dies. I'm like, come
Yep.
on.
Like
It's like
that's my
watching
favorite
Bambi
person.
go.
Exactly, exactly. It's my stepdaughter, so she Outer Banks is a show that she got me
Oh,
into.
yes,
And
yes.
so yeah, so we were watching that and her favorite character died and she's crying. She's crying. I'm like,
Oh,
"Well, it's not real life. They didn't die in real life." No, but it
yeah.
is to me.
Yes. And actually, I think sometimes it's therapeutic to have a good cry, and sometimes it's for people the only way they can let it out, like reading a book or watching something sad. Sometimes it'll allow you the moment to just like let go of the grief when something
Absolutely.
doesn't, it's not really your family, but you're seeing it and you're so attached, you know?
Yes. Oh
It
my
kind of
gosh,
is
absolutely.
therapeutic.
I completely agree. And as I get older, I get more emotional because I think, it's putting life into perspective a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the 31-year-old that just got shot yesterday,
Oh
just and
God.
watching, yeah, and just watching the news, about that and seeing his
That
young
broke my heart.
family.
Just seeing the picture of him with his family, I was like, oh my God.
Exactly. That's what put me over the
That's what
edge. I
got
was
me.
like, oh my gosh, it's just so devastating. And you can feel what, you can really truly feel what they're feeling.
Yeah,
And just because he was so, he was such a great speaker and such a great man. And he was involved in so many
yeah,
people's lives that they're
yeah.
all grieving, his loss
Yes,
too. And so,
yes,
yep.
yes. I just, not to get political, but the state of the world is such where people aren't allowed to even be who they are, have an opinion, because if you say anything, some group gets mad at you. Like to me, how I grew up is it's okay if you don't agree. It's okay if you have a difference of opinion, as long as you're respectful and you understand the other person's point of view. Isn't that the point?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you don't need to, it shouldn't cause anger. It should be just an open conversation
Yeah.
where you're okay, I'm okay, we can have difference of opinion. We're all
Right.
here on a journey. Like that's how I view life. And like it
Oh,
just blows my
absolutely.
mind that
I
this
was telling
isn't.
my girls that same exact thing. It's like if I think that that this is light blue and you think that it's regular blue,
That's
I'm not
okay.
going to argue with you. That's okay. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like
Yeah.
what is the point in arguing? You're not going to change my opinion about it, and I'm
No.
not going to change yours. Let's
No.
just both have an opinion about it. That's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the way the world
Yeah.
should work, and it's this day and age, it's just not.
No, no. And to me too, like history should not be gone. Like things that happen in history, just if you don't agree with it or it's not pleasant,
Yep.
Shouldn't be something that is buried. It should be, okay, what did we learn from this? And let's not repeat the stupidity. And
Yep.
I think what's happening is when you start taking out information and you're saying this, we can't look at this anymore, or you start banning books and you don't want to look at that anymore, what happens is you're losing the trail of history
Yep.
and understanding of what we've been through.
Hmm.
And I know, like, even in Germany, they'll talk about the terrible things that their culture did
Yep.
because they don't want their people to forget what can happen
Yep.
if you don't do the right thing and if you,
Absolutely.
kind of follow the wrong pony,
Yeah.
and I think that's a good way to be, is like you have to understand your culture, you have to understand history, so you don't do the same stupid things. And
Hmm.
probably, free will, that's
Yep.
there,
That
but
is. That is. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think the internet too. I mean, it's just so like with the young kids and everything that's going on, these days,
yes,
it's so different than how, it was
yes,
in history. And so it's
yes,
like we have to figure out this world has to figure out how we can better our children and how we can better raise them and not have them on the TV all the time or, have
I
them watching these
know.
terrible things and then so they think that that's okay.
That's
And
right.
so raising kids this day and age is really, really difficult
I can't
because
I
they
can't even
have,
imagine. I know. I mean, I think about it, like even how I grew up. Nobody was photographing you. I've
yep.
got like two pictures of me as a kid, all the
Yeah,
dumb things you do. It's not on media. No one can
yeah,
bully you from your computer or your phone. I don't care if someone doesn't like me that I don't know down the street. I don't care. You don't
yeah,
know. But
yeah.
now these kids are so, I guess, invested in who likes them, but
Mhm.
doesn't know them, but who likes them.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not real. It's
No,
not real.
it's not. And so what I say to my oldest daughter, because she struggles with that a lot, I say, but why wouldn't they like you? What is
Yeah,
there to not like about you?
right.
If they don't like the color of your hair, well,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you have to realize who cares?
yeah,
You have to come to the realization to think like it's me, this is who I am, and I've got to be okay with myself. And if somebody doesn't like it, they don't like it. That's
right.
okay,
And I think that's the thing. It's like that you have to develop the core of your personality. And I think it's so outer, like kids are thinking so much outside themselves. Like, what do I look like? What do my lips look like? What does my body look like? What do they think of me? And it's all outer directed instead of let's work on who I am as a person. So
Yeah,
if I accept me, it's not going to affect me if that one person or two people doesn't get me. It's
yeah,
okay. They don't have to.
yeah.
And I think that's maturity, and I think that
It
develops.
is. You are absolutely correct with that.
Yeah.
It does come with age. I know that I wasn't confident in myself when I was 15 years old. I would, get up 2 hours early for school in the morning so my hair could be perfect and, everything could be perfect because I didn't want to look not
Yeah.
perfect. Well,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing about me that's perfect. And I can easily say that now, but I would never have said that when I was 15 years
Uh-huh.
old,
Yeah.
and so it is just, building that confidence within yourself and these kids they don't have the opportunity to do that because they're on their phones all the time
That's
and
right.
people are telling them what they need to think about themselves when they
Right.
shouldn't be. So
That's
yeah, but
right.
that does come with age, you are
It
right.
does. It does.
Yeah.
Age and maturity. And sometimes it's like, I wish I would have had this in my brain at, let's say, 25 years old.
Yep.
Wouldn't that have been awesome to
Yes.
have that
Yes,
information we learned through life?
it would have. However, you would have never been the person you are today. You had
No.
a lot of growing up to do. I look at the 25-year-olds and I'm like, gosh, I never want to be 25 again. I'm not going to be 25 again, but it's like, oh, I don't ever want to be that age again.
I would like my 30-year-old body and
Yes.
this brain.
Yes, there you go. That's
That I'd go
perfect.
for that. But other
Yep.
than that, I'm happy with who I am, and I think,
Yep.
we all come to our mission in life. I know your mission has been to bring light and energy and help to other people, which is amazing, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight you in my podcast and also bring other people in that are light workers, healers, helpers, because in this day and age, the view is that everything's dark, and I want people to know there's all these beautiful light spots and souls that are all helping each other, and this show hopefully will highlight that.
Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. So I want you to tell people how they can get in touch with you. I want you to name your business again and
Yep.
how they can find you.
Yeah, so cornerstonecaregiving.com is the website. So that will take you to the primary website, and then you can search your location. You can put in your zip code, and it will tell you if there's a Cornerstone Caregiving in your area. In and around the Alexandria area, my phone number is 320-335-0988. You can give me a call, and that will come straight to the office. I have the office phone on my cell phone too, so that'll come straight to my cell phone. And any questions, I tell people, no question is a silly question.
Hmm.
If you are, thinking that you need 2 hours of care a week,
Hmm.
that's great. Even if you don't need me right now and you want more information, education is powerful. So the more information you have, that's great. I will share it with you.
Beautiful. I love that. So I want to thank you so much for spending your time today with me. I really appreciate it. And you have a beautiful light, and we have to stay in contact because I think you're
Yes.
awesome.
Yes. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
yeah.
having me. It's been a
Love this.
pleasure.
Love this. And so this has been the Lightwalker's Path, and I'm Rosemary DeTrolio, Reiki Master Teacher, Angel Channel, and Spiritual Guide. And you can check my website for workshops, sessions, books, courses, and blogs. And hopefully you'll view and share and subscribe my podcast so that we can spread the light and help other people in the world. So God bless and thank you.